On this episode, we're doing brakes 2017 Mini Cooper S. Probably going to be the same for a Mini Cooper Countryman, which is a station wagon, and Clubman, which is a station wagon, but probably all the same. So this is the Power Stop kit. You can find it on rockauto.com. I went to rockauto.com, and then the same part number was available on Amazon for, let's see, 70 bucks less and free shipping. So pretty good deal. Comes with the brake pads. Comes with a cool sticker. These are the rear rotors, and they're labeled. So driver side rear, because they're directional. So this is the upgrade kit. So they're drilled and slotted. The regular ones are just solid. Not that big a deal, but it was like 100 bucks more, so why not? If you're doing some performance driving, these are going to work better. They'll probably make a little bit more brake dust, but not that big a deal. And then these are the fronts. And they're also drilled and slotted and vented. So they'll brake better under harsher conditions. Let's say when you're juking through traffic in your Mini Cooper. And then there's so many different kind of brake pads, but these are the carbon fiber ceramic, whatever that means. There's the cords for the brake sensor. They supply you with the grease, new nuts, new boots, and then these are the front pads. Slightly larger than the rear pads. They have a brake install guide. I'm going to say this is pretty generic, but probably pretty close to everything else. Stickers go on walls, not on cars. And then here's the rear pads. Significantly smaller than the front pads, because most of your braking force is up front. So this Cooper has 93,000 miles on it, and I haven't done the brakes yet. But there's a caveat. My commute is all highway, 80 some odd miles one way, and let's just say less than 5 stop signs and red lights in between. So not a lot of braking going on when I'm commuting. When I'm just driving around, yeah, your mileage may vary. So I recommend you check your brake pads every time you change your oil or every time you take the tire off. I'm gonna say I've been a little remiss about that. I don't know what they look like, but we're fixing to find out. But like every other mechanic or person that works on cars, sometimes your stuff is pushed to the back because you're busy working on somebody else's stuff. But for today, this is what we're doing. Because there's some grooves going on in the back on the passenger side, and that's not good. I mean, it still brakes, but we kind of broke the brakes, maybe. We'll take a look when we get back there. So this is the aftermath of the brake job, but this is going to get cut into the beginning. So if you're just taking the pads off and putting new pads on, all you're really going to need is a 17 to get the wheel off, and then a 13, short 13 will work, a short 13, and a 17 spanner. This one's been filed down, ground down, so it'll fit, to get the bolt out to take the caliper off. Then you got to do some cleaning, and then the grease, put your new pads on, and you're done. If you're taking the rotors off, on the front you're going to need an 18 millimeter to get that big bolt out, 6 millimeter Allen to get the rotor off, and then that's it. On the back, you're going to need this star bit, they call it. This one is a E14, and that'll get those bolts out of the back. The back bolts were a pain in the butt. Torque wrench to get everything torqued back up. Pliers to get the little wire sensor out of the pad, and a screwdriver to pop these clips off. The Power Stop kit comes with new clips, new rubbers on the front, new bolts on the front. You reuse the bolts on the back. Loctite's a good idea. This is everything I used. Ugga dugga. And then this breaker bar to get those back bolts out to get the rotor off. Do not drop that. Those things were a pain. I don't know who put those in, but they were really strong. So just for instance, the way I'm doing it in this video, when I was running the camera, it was a 4-hour job on the driver's side. Passenger side, I knocked it down to an hour and a half. But that's a lot of cleaning, painting, you know, the works. If you're just throwing it on there with grease, I'm going to say you could probably do an hour per side, 30 minutes per wheel, off and on. So it takes a little bit of time. Really? Come on. Put that on. Really? Put that on. I guess I did. Really? They may be frozen. I mean frozen by cold. It was in the teens last night. That's a suspension mount, and I have my jack stand underneath that. Here's that body mount lift point for jacking it up. I still have good pad left, but we'll take a look at it anyway. Maybe I don't need to do this right now, so I don't want this all falling on me. So this little doojab right here is your brake wear sensor. It'll pull out, and this is the clip. Don't lose the clip if you're not going to replace the sensor. So you can see where this thing was touching. It should have been indicating change the brakes. But we can just put that out of the way for now. And then what we want to do is we're going to take the rotor, we're going to take the caliper off first. So this is a 17 and this is a 13. So you need a skinny 17 to get in here. This one's a little filed down for something else. It will work. We're going to hold this, and this is all lefty loosey, righty tighty, or as my snap-on says, off. And I don't like any of that, so I'm going to go like this. This camera is in my way. And then the same thing on the bottom one. Second verse, same as the first. See if it'll break loose first. Yeah. And then hold. So this pulls away from the caliper. Nothing's holding the caliper on other than brake pressure on the pads. So our electronic wire is disconnected. This brake line, you don't want to mess it up too much. Don't bend it, crimp it. Try not to pull on it. They make these handy dandy brake caliper hangers, but you know, we used to use coat hangers and wire and stuff like that. So we're just going to slide this off. And then hang it up out of the way. And I'm just putting it on the strut tower up here, so it's mostly out of our way. So here's our brake pads, and they're just going to slide out, sort of. There we go. Now then, if we were being hasty, we could just throw new pads on and drive it, and that would probably be okay. If you start to get some shimmy in your brakes when you're putting them on, it means your rotors are out of true and you need to get them turned. But it wasn't doing it before, so it's probably not going to do it now. And then if we want to compare, so we are more than halfway done with these pads, let's say, if we go like that. And the pads are different. So the back pad has this groove in here where that sensor goes. The front is just a U. So don't get them mixed up. You're not going to get that in here, and it ain't going to stretch across to this side. Since we're replacing the rotor with a new rotor, we have to take this brake caliper hanger off, and that's these two bolts right here. These are going to be 18s, and I'm going to use the Ugga Dugga and see do they come loose. Take that off, push that in, take that out, set that down. So to get this rotor off, there's a little lock nut on here that holds it on, and it is 6 millimeter. It's not very severe. It's just a little holder tab thing. And then this will come off pretty easy. So here's the inside. Here's the inside. It's still in pretty good shape, honest. So now's a good time to check your hub, right? It's supposed to turn, but it's not supposed to move in and out. If you can pull on it and it clicks, then you've got a problem with your bearings. Gonna have to replace this hub bearing. But this one's fine, so we're good to go. Not a lot of rust, which is good. I hate rust. This thing only goes on one way. So there's little rods in here that allow it to move in and out with braking. We're gonna take these out because we're gonna replace these boots because we got new ones. So we're just gonna give it a twist and a pull. Now, they're different. They're not different. They're exactly the same. So we can't get them mixed up. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over and I'm going to clean this and get all this brake dust off. So y'all take a break. I'll be right back. So I'm going to clean this off. This is just a green scratch pad. There's a little bit of rust on here. And then the same with this surface. Some people aren't going to like this, but there's two ways to stop rust. Lubricants and paint. Me? I like paint. So this is a flat black. We'll know it's dry when it turns flat. Okay, so paint is dry on our hub. You can put grease on here. That's fine. Especially if you live up north. What's going to happen is your brake rotor is going to rust against your hub and you're going to have to knock it off and it's going to be a pain in the butt. But paint works good too, because why? Paint doesn't rust. So the next thing we need to do is we have to push this piston back inside the caliper. You can use pliers, you can use a C-clamp. Stay. I'm a little bit fortunate. Sometimes I'm a little fortunate. So this is a tool for pushing this in. Go slow. It's not hard. Look, I'm just doing like this. We have to make room for those new pads. And what we're doing is we're pushing the brake fluid back up into the reservoir. It could be possible to overflow that if you were adding brake fluid before the brake job. I'm gonna let this dangle. It'll be okay. There's nowhere for me to hang in here. So it's dangling. So your new rotor, you want to clean this off with brake cleaner, acetone, something like that to get all of the, sometimes there's like shipping stuff on there or contaminants, greasy looking stuff. And then you gotta line this up. So this hole is our small hole. And it just fits back on. And it lines up with all of the bolt holes. And then this will center it. Somewhere I had a tool. So torque specs on this is 18 foot-pounds, plus or minus. That's good enough. Then I put some Loctite on this carrier bolt. This is the same carrier. I wasn't happy when it was clean, so I do a little paint on it. This only goes on one way. You can't really mess it up. And torque specs on these, come on, this little doojab, I don't want to break it. Carrier to hub bolts, about 105 Newton meters, 110 Newton meters, 80 foot-pounds. You went on, you're coming off. All right, don't break it. Got it. I usually just throw those on there with Ugga Dugga, but I'm using a torque wrench because y'all are here. Remember, the one with the divots goes in the back. This one with the U goes in the front. So these are little locking tabs. They're supposed to help prevent squeaks and stuff like that. So this is the part where you can take your grease. It came with a kit, so I'm going to use it. And you just want to put it right here on these flat surfaces, because these are where our contact points are. You can use your finger, but paintbrushes work good too. You don't really want to get it on the rotor, but if you do, it's going to burn off pretty fast, don't worry. The next thing you want to do is put a little grease on this piston face. So just on the metal part. Now we can throw our pads in. They're going to be a little tight because they're new, but they'll just snap in like that. These have the anti-squeal backing on them. You kind of push down on that little tab and then pop them in like that. They're probably not going to squeak because they got these tabs, right? The tabs help stop them from squeaking. We grease this part on the face. Probably not going to squeak. But we have a lot of grease left. So on these two legs, right here, put a little grease like this. Because that's where the clamping force is. And it'll help. And then we're going to slide this on. If you don't push this piston back, it's not going to fit. Now it's loose, right? Because we pushed the piston all the way back. When we get back in the car, we're going to push the brakes down and we'll push this piston out and all this will tighten up. I'll show you. So the next thing we have to do is put these bolts in. So like I said, on this one, they're the same. On the earlier models, they're going to be like this, and then the other one's gonna have like a round plastic looking bushing on it. So make sure you put them back in the same order. Usually the plastic one goes on the bottom, but you know, sometimes you never know. So this is just gonna slide in this hole. If it's gonna be a pain, it's gonna be a pain. Come here. There, you're an ass. And you're just gonna twist and turn, and then this thing is gonna pop on like that. So I'm putting grease on it first, and then I'm sliding the new boot on. And so the boot's gonna push some up, and it's gonna coat the top part. And I'll put some more grease on it. And then I'll put it in like this. And then, like I said, there's a flat spot, so when I'm twisting it and pushing it, I'm kind of working that grease down in there. And then we put it on like this. Give it a squeeze and pops on. Now we put our caliper on. And we're gonna have to push these in like that, and then like this, and then we're good, see? So the new nuts have Loctite on them already. We can get them started first. Everything is in my way. Torque spec on this one is 35 Newton meters, or about 28 foot-pounds. And then they say plus or minus 3. So, you know, whatever you want. And we're already there. It must be plus 3. There we go. Okay, so carrier is torque to hub, brake caliper is torque to carrier. This little doodad, this pinned portion faces your rotor. The flat portion faces the brake pad. So you're just going to come across and put it back in and then push it down. The kit comes with a new wire, but there's nothing wrong with this wire, okay? If it was damaged, we would replace it. And the other part of it's right up here behind this fender liner. It's not hard to get to, but I just don't, there's not a need, because this one functions. If it was broken or something like that, but it's not. So we're just going to push it down, and then you might hear it click, but it's in there. And then this thing is your bleed screw cap cover thing. It's being difficult. Almost got it. It's supposed to be like this, and this wire goes right here, and then you put it on. Just like that. So whoever did it last time didn't put it back in there. Okay, so front brake is done. I'm going to focus down on here, I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to push on the brakes, and you're going to watch this piston come out. Right here. You're going to watch this whole thing's going to move. Okay, that's it. We got brakes. So it didn't move a lot, but it moved some. We're good. So now I'm going to turn this wheel back. We put the wheel back on, and we're good. Okay, so here we are on the back brake. Ouch! What is that? Oh, that's gonna hurt. So, kind of similar to the front, but, so make sure your parking brake is off. Parking brake is attached right here. We're not gonna need to remove this. We're just gonna pull this out, and then we'll hang it from something. I don't know what. We'll figure it out. But just like the fronts, sometimes it helps to put my glasses on, even though I have contacts in. It's a 17 wrench and a 13 socket. And I'm going to be in the way, but that's because it's a Mini Cooper and it's small. And this is not a 13. It's a 14. So add that to the list. 13, 17, 18, 6mm, 14. And these are a different kind of bolt, so they don't provide a replacement for the backs. I don't know why, but they don't. And then just like the front, this is going to slide off. So this is just going to slide off like this. Okay, so we're not going to be able to move that very much because the parking brake, so it's just going to sit right there, which is fine with me. And then if we pull these pads out, you can see they're thinner than the fronts. And all of a sudden, I'm having an allergy attack. Let me see, where are you? I'm not even looking. Here we go. So, thin, less, more. Let's put them in order. Skinniest to fattest. So these carrier bolts are held in with these star bits. This one is an E14. I picked it up at AutoZone, I think. It's Duralast brand. Push, pull. There it comes. Ouch. Ugh. Should have cleaned that. That's a big, small bolt on the top. Can't see. Yeah. Don't lose that spacer. Now we gotta get the one on the bottom. Just like the other one. And they put that on there. That was way more than 80 foot-pounds. Where did this go? Over here. Put it over here. So now our carrier is off. And so, unlike the front, this one has these little spring clips on there. They're a pain to get off sometimes. But this is like your anti-squeak stuff. The kit comes with new ones. Let's check these and see if they're different. Come on. Come on. So that one's around with flat edge. This one's around flat edge, so same. But getting it off is what? Pull this out. Oh, it just pops out. So the kit doesn't come with new rubbers for this, but they just pop out like this. I'm gonna pop these clips out and I'm gonna clean this up. All right, I forgot to hit record. Sorry. So this is where the kit comes in handy. This brake piston is a twist out piston. So you have to twist it in. In this kit, it's a number 7. And this fits on like this. And this goes in here like this. And then it twists and goes in. You can't just push it straight like we did on the first one or with a C-clamp. You can do it with a C-clamp, but when you're C-clamping, you got to be twisting the piston at the same time. It's not hard, it's just a pain in the butt. And that's because the parking brake has a push out screw thing that pushes this out to activate the parking brake. If I remember, I'll show you on the other side. Or maybe I'll just cut it in, but then you would see that it's the wrong brake and you think I was cheating, but I'm not cheating. Just trying to help y'all out. So we're done with that. Now I gotta take this rotor off. Need a Ugga Dugga and a number 6. 6 millimeter. And then this will just pop off. Sorry, that was my head. So if you want paint to dry faster, heat gun. Again, this is function. The paint is function, not for beauty contests. Don't want our rotor rusting against the hub, rusting and, you know, cause any conflict later. So all of this is done. We can put our new rotor on, driver side rear. Line up the little doodad right there. You could smear grease on there. They make that copper grease stuff. I see people use that. But, you know, paint and a heat gun works just as good. It's Rust-Oleum, so it's not going to rust. And honestly, grease attracts dirt, and then it sticks, and then you got greasy dirt. It's a pain in the butt to clean. So now I got to put the carrier back on. So just like on the front, I cleaned it up, and then I shot it with some paint. This is not, I'm pretty sure this is iron. If I had a magnet I could check. This one's aluminum, but there was some rust on there, so clean it, paint it, put it back together. Where's my bolts? I don't know. Down we go. Got them. So these had blue Loctite on them. That's why they were a pain in the butt. Blue's better than red. So I'll put some blue Loctite on them. This thing only goes on one way. You can't really mess it up, honest. Ugga Dugga takes it off, Ugga Dugga puts it on. That's the rule. Torque spec, stand by. It says 100 Newton meters, but I don't think my tool's gonna fit. I'll take it. Loctite was Loctite. Is Loctite. So if you didn't paint them, put some grease down before you put these on. And these just pop on. And then there's pads somewhere. So there's no wire for this side, but still get in the habit of putting the clippy side on the back, and you'll be fine. Clean this off. Okay, these are two different colors. Silver one goes on the bottom, but they're basically the same. Where's my bolts? $13mm up front, 14mm in the rear. Don't ask me why. But you know, Mini Cooper. Somebody thought that was funny. $35 Newton meters, 28 foot-pounds. 35 Newton meters, 28 foot-pounds, and some Loctite. How's that? Go push that brake to get that piston out before you apply the parking brake. We're good. Don't forget your light. Now's a good time to check your tire, put the proper air in it, rotate them. Always start these by hand. So that's front and rear brakes done. You do the same thing on the other side. On the passenger side rear is going to be that little cable that goes in right there. There's not one back here. So front left, back right for the little cable. Pop it out first. 13, 14, 17, 18, and then the E14, the little star bit thing. If you're going to take, that's if you're taking the carriers off. If you're just doing pads, you don't need it. So I'll give you all a look best I can. So this is a follow-up to the brake install. It'll be cut in before the end. So after you get everything done, you have to take the car out and drive it. Run it up to like 20 miles an hour, slow down and stop. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. You're gonna get some strange smells because the brake pads are burning in. They're gonna stink like brakes. And you're also probably going to get some clicks and some pops while everything's working itself into place. So you're going to stop, then you're going to start off, especially with these slots. They're going to click, and then they'll go away, and then brake some more. Do it a couple times, probably like 10 or 11. If you'll notice, I sort of kind of cleaned the wheel off to make it look a little more presentable, but it's still filthy. But then after you break them in, get them seated, the clicking will stop, the smells will start to dissipate, and then when you really get on it, get that ABS working, you're going to notice a difference. You can almost pick the rear tire off the ground when you get on it real hard. Give you a look at the rears. Nice and shiny. You can see where pads are rubbing. Some friction was created. If you look right here, this is that carrier, caliper carrier. Took it off, painted it. So it looks pretty good. It actually matches the, almost matches the color of the brake rotor. Here, let me do this. Now you can see it better. Right there. Here. Hold on. Here. Here. I'm gonna have to bathe this car. I did bathe the windows. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Normally I do a wheel wash and clean up the rims and, you know, black out the tires and all that other stuff. But honestly, it's freezing outside and I'm not gonna do that. I'll take it to the car wash and just run it through the car wash. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Y'all have a good day. Now I gotta do the other side. And I know I have a tool somewhere. Where did I put my ratchet? Got it down. You didn't get it down. Oh shit, what was that? I don't know. Someone's poking me. But this is slightly low for me. We're dealing with some sort of fuckery. Where's my light? We shouldn't put those there. We should put them here. I need this. And the pads. I'll be right back. Go. Nah, just fuck it. I'm getting sore. Ugh. Chrome palladium channel lock crap.